Welcome back to CordcuttersLI, where we help to save you money on your cable bill. In this hand, I have the Amazon FireStick 4K Max. And in this hand, sinking in my chair, we have the Roku Streaming Stick 4K. These two devices are arguably the most popular $50 streaming devices out there. But which one is right for you? Die-hard FireStick fans will tell you that Rokus are junk. But on the other hand, I know many people who love their Roku, and they show up in the comments section of my videos all the time. In the end, I think a lot of it comes down to personal preference and what you plan to do with your streaming device. With that said, and by popular demand, I've decided to make this video where I'll lay it all out on the table or screen for you. I'll give you a tour around their popular interfaces and point out the best and worst things of both. When I'm done with that, I'll show you my list of pros and cons for each of them. I hope this will help you decide which one is best for you. If not, at the very least, whether you're on Team Roku or Team FireStick, you'll have a better understanding of how the other half lives. So if you're ready to see what might be your next 4K streaming stick, sit back, relax, and let's go. Okay, first up we have the Roku Streaming Stick 4K. Let's take a look at this. Before I show you the interface, let's go ahead and look at the remote up close and personal. Very familiar buttons, similar to most of the streaming devices. The power button on top. The return button, or the go back to the previous menu button, is that left arrow. The house symbol is the home button to go back to the home screen. You have your navigation, up, down, left, right, with the OK or select button in the middle. The little return button next to the microphone. It does have voice control, so you can search for things or ask it to open up certain apps or whatever. And next to the microphone, you have that little star or asterisk button. At certain points in the interface, it'll tell you to press that button for more information and things like that. Then you have the play and pause button with the left and right rewind. 4 dedicated application buttons. These are not remappable. Set to Netflix, Disney Plus, Apple TV Plus, and Paramount Plus. On the right side, and this is in contrast to the Fire TV or most of the other remotes, on the right side of the remote is where you're going to find the mute and volume up and down buttons. So that's the remote. Now let's take a look around. From home, it's very simple. It's a very simple screen. You have the menu on the left. You can scroll up and down to go to different parts of the Roku. And then to the right, you have all of they call them channels, not necessarily apps. A little bit of a different verbiage there. But these are all the channels that you have on the Roku. So, on a Fire Stick, you'd call this the Sling app or the Netflix app or the Prime Video app. Here, they call them channels. And, you have all the channels listed here. You can move these up and down. It's a little bit tricky to do. But if you go to an app and you want to move it, let's just say we want to move the Sling TV app. You hit the star button, and then you'll get an option. You can move up to, say, move channel, and you can move it over a little bit if you want. That is one kind of key difference from the Fire Stick interface that I'll show you in a little bit. But anyway, let's go back to home. It's pretty easy to see why the Roku is so popular. This is very, very simple interface to navigate. You don't really need to know much about anything to go and find something to watch. So let's move down to the category of live TV. You can go into there. Lots of different live TV options here, but most people I think are going to stick to this where it says live TV channel guide. So here's where you'll find only the live Roku channels on the Roku channel itself. These are channels that are part of the free Roku live TV offerings. You can't put your other subscriptions like Sling TV or Freevee or any of the other types of channels into this TV guide. I think that's somewhat of a drawback, but we'll get to that when we discuss the Fire TV stuff on the other side. Let's go back out now. You can search for any specific channel that you want to add, or you can search for movies or whatever you'd like to search for. It's pretty intuitive. If you just search for, let's just say, by name, Tom. So you're going to see Tom and Jerry. You're going to see all kinds of Toms, Tom Hanks, all these different movies. So if you find somebody, let's say Tom Segura, right? You click on that, and it'll tell you all the different types of content that Tom Segura has. So the search is pretty intuitive. It's pretty good. I've tried it out for a bunch of stuff, and I kind of like the way it works. Next down on the menu, you have what to watch. This is very similar to what you'll see on the main screen of the Fire Stick that we'll get to in a little bit. You have a bunch of recommended content. You can continue watching stuff that you started, and then it will give you a bunch of recommendations for some other things. Again, this is a couple layers deep on the Roku, but right out in front of your face on the Fire Stick. Some people like it, some people don't. But here, this is the way that Roku does it. Then down below that, you have featured free. This is all stuff that you don't have to worry about paying for here. If you go into this section, have no fear, you're not going to get any surprises in tomorrow's cable bill or credit card bill. Moving down to sports, these are all the sports channels that are in the Roku channel as well. Mostly some highlights. You're not going to see a lot of live TV here as far as live sports and games and stuff, but that's kind of similar to what you're going to see on any other streaming device for the free ad-supported stuff. Streaming store, this is where you can find some more apps if you wanted to. Also some apps, movies, TV shows, games. There are a number of games that you can play on the Roku that are here. The Buzz, I kind of looked into this. I don't really know what it is. It's basically, if you go to the website, it tells you that this is the latest and greatest stuff that that's trending right now and so on. You can see some clips and some posts about some content. I didn't spend a lot of time in here. I don't quite get what that is. If you're familiar with that and you want to put some comments down below to fill us all in, please do. And then you have the settings. And, we've been through a lot of these settings on some previous videos. But for the most part, it's pretty simple. So that is the interface of the Roku. Now let's go ahead and switch gears to the Amazon Fire Stick 4K Max. And like I said, after that, I'm going to give you a list of pros and cons for both. And we'll be interested to see which one you like best.
Moments later.
Okay, so now on to the Amazon Fire TV 4K Max. And a quick look at the remote here. It is a little bit different. Side by side, the Roku remote is slightly larger than the Fire Stick remote. At the top of the Fire Stick remote, you have the power button. Then you have the blue Alexa voice button, the circle and the select or OK button in the middle. You have the return button next to the home key. The menu button is the one with the 3 lines we often call the hamburger button. Then you have the play and pause and fast forward and rewind buttons. The mute button, the volume up and down, the live TV button, and then you have the 4 dedicated application buttons for Prime Video, Netflix, Disney Plus, and Hulu. In this case, with a little bit of effort, you can remap those applications to open up other apps, unlike that of the Roku. So now, looking at the interface of the Fire Stick, you'll see that it's much busier than the Roku. At the top, it shows you ads that will scroll through here, just relentlessly. It will try to entice you to purchase things throughout the app, throughout the home screen. On the top, you have what I call the favorites bar. You can put 6 of your favorite apps up here, and you can go to all of your apps over here, and any of these apps, any of the apps that you install can be put up into that favorites row at the top. And it's very easy. It's a little bit easier, I feel, to move these around on the Amazon Fire Stick as it is on the Roku. Let's say, for example, we want to move this one. You just tap that hamburger button, and then you can either move to the front, or you can move it to any specific spot you want and drop it. On the far left, you have where you can select the profile to choose from. So you can have multiple profiles on the Fire TV. You cannot do that on the Roku. You have to have a Roku account, and only one account per Roku device can be used. So you don't have the ability on the Roku to have profiles like one for your wife and one for your kids and so on. Next, you can find stuff, in through here. Similar to the Roku, where that search function, you can search for the different, free stuff, movies, TV shows, games, and so on. You can search for apps in there as well. You have a whole section of free stuff here, and similar again to the Roku, where you saw that free menu on the Roku, very similar to that. And here, when you click on Live and you go to the guide, it's much different from the Roku. It's much more customizable. If you hit the menu button or the hamburger button quickly, you have the option to add other channels or manage channels in this case. So here you can actually choose which of your subscription and free live TV apps will show on your TV sources list. And then you can also move around and pick which channels within that. So let's say if I go into Sling TV, now I can pick which ones I want to have in there. I can reset the order. I can hide a channel. You know, all these different options are available to me in the live TV section of the Amazon Fire Stick. So that's a bit better, in my opinion. A lot more versatility and customization allowed in the Fire Stick. Again, here's our favorite apps row. Speaking of apps, another key difference to the Fire Stick, it's Fire OS, which is built on Android, which means that you have just literally hundreds of thousands of apps available to you, both official and unofficial apps. Apps can be sideloaded on the Fire Stick, not so much on the Roku. The Roku pretty much comes with what it comes with. You can add channels and the apps from that the Roku store, but that's about it. Another thing you won't see on the Roku is the ability to have a VPN. Most people will say, well, you don't need a VPN on the Roku because it's all official apps. Well, you know, that's debatable. There is certainly more than one reason to have a VPN and protect your identity and protect yourself from being, from Big Brother checking out what you're doing and all this kind of stuff. And to use a VPN on a Roku device, you'd actually have to install the VPN if you have one on your router in your house. So for me, personally, that's a bit of a knock on the Roku from my perspective, but you know, to each his own. I showed you the settings in the Roku. If you go to the Fire TV and you go to that gear, these are where all the different settings are here. Just tons and tons of different settings that you can check out. I have got literally dozens of videos on going through all these settings and what to pick and so on. And I also have a video on the Roku to show you all the settings that you really want to turn off and turn on and so on. So I'll put a link in the description below for a few of those videos. So that's a brief look at the interface for the Fire Stick 4K Max. So now, as promised, let's go ahead and look at that pros and cons list that I put together to see what team you're on, Team Roku or Team Fire Stick. Okay, pros and cons, Roku versus Fire Stick. So it kind of goes without saying, the simpler interface. The interface on the Roku is easy to use. Probably why it's more popular amongst the older generation or the people that are just brand new to cutting the cord and getting rid of their cable. Next, it supports all the official streaming apps. So you have no fear that, you know, your Netflix, your Hulu, your, you know, Sling TV, any of the apps that you want, the official streaming apps are all going to be available on this device. No problems. They have less aggressive selling. As you saw on the interface, there's very little ads. On one screen, you're going to see an ad off to the right that, you know, kind of changes from time to time. But, you know, if you just open up the Roku screen and let it sit there, it's not going to be blasting you with things to try to sell you. And lastly, it's fast and easy to set up a Roku. Pretty much all the different devices. If you have a Roku account already, which is really easy to set up on the device itself or on your phone or computer, it might be a little simpler. Once that's set up, it's really just a matter of minutes before you are up and streaming all your favorite stuff. You know, you go through the setup and you tell it what services you have, and boom, it just automatically gets all those channels installed for you. On the cons side of the Roku, you have the live TV section. Now, I wasn't all that thrilled about. If you go into the live TV, as I showed you, it only shows you the Roku channels live TV section. So if you have, let's say, Sling TV or Hulu, you'll have to go into those specific apps or channels, as Roku calls them, to get to that content. You really can't go into the live section as a, you know, go-to source for all of your stuff. If you have some live TV subscriptions, even the free stuff that's on Amazon Prime Live TV, you won't be able to get to that in the live TV section on the Roku. Second, probably one of the biggest drawbacks from a Fire Stick fan perspective is that you cannot install any unofficial apps. The only apps or channels that you can install on the Roku are what is available when you search for them, pretty much. You cannot install a VPN. As I said earlier, there are a number of reasons why someone would want a VPN. It isn't just for streaming unofficial apps or doing some shady stuff. You definitely have a set of people out there that just want to have their identity hidden, and what they do online hidden as well. And there's nothing wrong with that. Next on the list, you can't add storage to the Roku. I mean, pretty much you can load it up with apps. When it tells you you're full, you're full. There's no more, nothing more to add. You can't install like a USB thumb drive, for example, and add storage to the Roku. No profiles, which is, getting more and more popular with the Fire Stick and the other streaming devices. I would imagine Roku is probably going to add this at some point, but for the time being, you cannot add more than one person on a Roku. That's the Roku pros and cons. On the Fire Stick side, you have the pros. We have many, many more apps available, and when I say that, I'm talking about the official and unofficial apps. I mean, literally tens of thousands of apps are available. It's an Android operating system, basically, and therefore it's open source, and you have tons and tons of developers just writing apps and content for this device constantly. So there's never a shortage of that stuff, and side-loading these apps is a piece of cake. Lots of videos here at CordcuttersLI to show you about that. Most of in fact, all of the ones that I could think of, the VPNs are supported to be installed directly on the device. In my opinion, the live TV experience is better on the Fire TV Stick. Expandable storage. Yeah, the storage on the Fire Stick isn't all that much. It's probably, similar to that of the Roku. However, on the Fire Stick, you can expand the storage by adding a USB thumb drive to it. It's pretty inexpensive to do, and I've got a number of videos here at CordcuttersLI to show you how to do that as well. Multiple profiles are supported, so you, your wife, your kids can each have a profile that keeps track of your viewing habits, your apps that you have installed, the recommendations and things that are going to be shown are all going to be different compared to who logs in and which profile. So that is something, again, not currently available on the Roku. Alexa devices are supported. So like I showed a video a while back where we could look at all of the Alexa devices. I brought up my Ring doorbell right on the Fire TV screen. That is pretty cool. Not possible on the Roku. On the con side, the list is kind of short, but again, it's personal preference here, right? Pushier selling, there's no doubt about it. Amazon is way, way more aggressive when it comes to trying to recommend stuff for you to buy, and that's just the way it is. And so if you're sort of an impulse shopper, perhaps the Roku is a better idea for you, because you won't be tempted to pull the trigger on these $5, $10, $15, $20 rentals of movies or whatnot. And then lastly, it does have a more complicated interface. I don't know if that's really a con. Some people might think, well, it's more customizable, it's more configurable, and therefore, it needs to be more complicated. But, on the other hand, there is something to be said about simplicity. So if you just have, what you want on the screen and you can get to everything you want very quickly and easily, then, that's a pretty good plus in the Roku column. So that's my list of pros and cons for the Roku versus the Fire TV. If you enjoyed anything you saw here today, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and as always, share this and all of your favorite CordcuttersLI videos with your friends. This helps to not only let my videos be shown to more people on YouTube, it helps to support the channel. So thanks for watching.